Welcome back, guys. It's 2022. This has been long overdue, so here it is with another workspace walkthrough. A lot has changed in the past 2 years. If you've been following me on Instagram, you've noticed that I've switched things around, tried new things. I wanted to just walk you through what I have as of today and what I've been using, and just hopefully give you some inspirations. If you're new in the channel, my name is Aral Tasher and I'm a UX engineer based off of Orlando, Florida. To give you a quick context of how I utilize this setup, I'm a UX engineer by day, so I do a lot of front-end development and UX design as my day trade. And in my free time, I like to create content on YouTube and Instagram for you guys. That's based around the workspace and my workflow, trying to give you guys inspiration. So make sure to check out my Instagram if you're curious about my work there. But let's get into it. A couple of quick disclaimers before we hop into everything. One, this video is not sponsored by any of the companies. What I use on my workspace is just purely based on my personal preferences. Like I said, I've been trying out things, seeing if they work or not. So you'll see that from the last video, there's a lot of things that are changed. There are some things that stay the same. Secondly, by all means, you do not need any of this to be able to do what I do in a professional manner. I've got a lot of comments on the last video for that. I've been working remote for the past 4 or 5 years, maybe even more. This is my workspace. I'm a firm believer that creating an environment that you genuinely enjoy being around helps you be more productive. So I've been investing in this workspace. So by all means, this is not what you need to have, but rather what I personally enjoy having around that enhances my workflow. So anyways, let's get into it. So starting off with the centerpiece of the setup, which puts everything together, is this beautiful Alive desk from Ergonomic. It's very sturdy and has minimal shake, compared to my older desks. I can lean on it while I'm standing at the maximum height, which was a huge issue with the stand desk that I had before. So it's very sturdy and it looks gorgeous with the rest of the setup. I paired that with the neat filing cabinet, again from Ergonomic as well. I really enjoy the walnut and black accent on this cabinet. It really fits well with the theme, and it's a nicer way of storing any type of paperwork or stuff that I needed. It's a nice upgrade from my old IKEA drawer unit that I had. One thing that I forgot to mention in my last video was obviously the chair that I use. Most of my pictures, I'm usually posing as I'm standing because that's what I do in the day portion. But in the afternoon, like I said, I like to sit down, and I like to invest in a good chair because I've learned it from the hard way with what happens if you just stick with a cheap chair and just the back pain was miserable. So I've been using the U2 ergonomic chair from Ergonomic again. It's a very lightweight chair, but it's ergonomically really comfortable, has a lot of adjustments that you can customize to your body shape so that you're sitting in a very comfortable position throughout the day. So I'm definitely a big fan and wanted to make sure that I covered that too, because last time I forgot to cover my chair and I got a lot of questions about it. So hopping into some of the components that stayed the same from the old setup is the Logitech MX Master 3 mouse. I've had the MX Master 2S before that too. I've been a long time Logitech mouse user. I'm very accustomed to their accessories, so I really enjoyed using it. It worked for me, so it stuck around. Same with the grommet mouse pad too. It adds such a nice aesthetic to the setup, and I'm a big fan of it. I briefly used their full desk leather mat, which was pretty much the same thing, but just at a larger scale. But I do enjoy having that wood texture on the desk, so I wanted to minimize the leather pad. So I've recently switched back to just using the mouse pad instead of using the full desk leather pad. Another equipment that remained the same throughout my whole setup changes are my KRK Rocket 5s. I've had them for over 6 years now. I'm not a music producer, but I enjoy loud music and they do the job for me. A couple things that I switched out around the speakers I got rid of the Audio Engine N22 amp as well as the Mass Drop DAC, and now I'm just using the Rode AI1, which is a single channel audio interface. which is hooked up to my Rode NT1 microphone, which comes in handy for both my video conferences that I do on a daily basis, but as well as when I need to hop on to a podcast to discuss any topic or anything like that. Moving along in the I/O, I moved away from my custom-built keyboards and switched it out with a drop ALT high profile. I added the Razer blackout keycaps on the keys. This allows me to have a clean blacked out look with the LEDs off if I want it, or I can just turn on the lights and you'll be able to see the keys on there if you wanted to. The custom coiled cable is from a company called Cable Catalog, which is based in Europe. I've also had orders from Space Cables, which is based in the US. I'll leave links to both of them. They build custom keyboard cables. They're built to order, so you can hit them up and they'll help you through with the process. I've also started using a wrist rest for my keyboard too. This was made by Artisan Labs. I'll leave a link to their Instagram as well. It was a coffee themed custom order, so thank you for them for sending out that little gift. It helps a lot with my wrist rest. I never knew that I needed one, but ever since I tried it out, I can't stop using it. So if you haven't been using a wrist rest for your keyboard, I highly recommend that you get one. At least in the long run, it will help your wrists for sure. Other I/O stuff that I have on the setup is the WD black hard drive that I have. Decent amount of space to hold on to my current projects that are ongoing. I have a CalDigit T4 DAS that I store all my archived content in there. So once the projects are done, they get moved to my T4, but while I'm working on stuff, I usually use the WD black that's on the desktop. Now, powering all these accessories is the CalDigit USB-C Pro dock. If you recall from my old setup, I was using the Razer Core X eGPU, which doubled as both my graphics card enclosure, but as well as my hub to connect all my USB devices. But since I got rid of the eGPU, now I'm using the USB-C Pro dock to connect all these devices. It's been working out fine for me so far. The only complaint that I probably have is that there's not enough slots on the back of it, so I have to plug in some of the stuff on the front, which doesn't really look clean and aesthetically pleasing to my pleasure. But otherwise, it's been working fine functionally, so I don't have any complaints on that end. And the last accessory that I have on the list is the Logitech Brio 4K camera. I've been using this camera for a while now. It's hooked up on a Elgato mount. The cool thing about this mount is that it actually can support a full-on DSLR camera if I wanted to too. So you can pretty much hook up anything that has the 3/4 thread on it. So you can just kind of screw it in there, and it has a nice little ball head so that you can kind of balance out everything too. So some non-technical stuff that I've also added are the grommet desk shelf, which kind of tidies up all these interfaces that I have and, you know, hides the kind of the clutter and all that. It also allows me to organize and just add some like books and other small accessories that I have. I have their tray as well. I'm also using the laptop dock from grommet as well. And as you've noticed, I've integrated a lot of the grommet accessories because it fits really well with the rustic theme that I'm going for and my overall desk setup. Going to the display portion of the setup, I've upgraded my human scale monitor arm. If you're curious about this monitor arm, I have a whole dedicated video that I'll link to it. The whole configuration can get a little bit confusing, so I dedicated a whole video of how I configured my monitor arm, so make sure to check that out. But this pretty much is a little bit of an extended version of what I had previously, which supported the 49-inch LG monitor that I had. Now I moved on to more of a T layout. The T layout seemed to work a lot better in both my video workflow and my picture editing workflow overall. So the monitor has also changed, as you can notice. I moved away from the 49-inch LG ultra-wide to these two Samsung displays. So I'm using the S80A, which is a 4K 32-inch Ultra HD monitor in the vertical orientation, and then I'm using the S65UA, which is the 34-inch ultra-wide on the horizontal. A few other accessories that I still have laying around on the desk are just the Walnut plant, just to Add a little bit of greenery to the desk as always. I have this concrete pen holder that I've got from Bespoke Post. I'm still using the Walnut Nomad charging pad, which fits again pretty nice with the whole rustic walnut vibes on the desk as well. And then lastly, I have this pretty unique looking wireframing pad from Thought Grid. Even though it's called a wireframing pad, I mainly use it as my weekly planner, so I break it down to days of the week so I can just write down all my meetings and all that stuff that I need to be jotting down real quickly and have it in my view at all times. So that's about it. Before I wrap it up, here's a quick shot of what looks like under the desk as well, because I got a lot of questions about how I do my cable management. I'm using the cable management solution from Ergonomic as well. It comes with this privacy screen with cable tunnels so you can wire your cables neatly, and it also includes a 9-outlet surge protector power strip as well, which I always go for. And they also include some reusable cable ties and adhesive cable ties. But you can also go on Amazon and look at these like sticky cable management stuff that you can get. There's no big secret to it. It's just a lot of just planning and patience and just making sure that you wire things correctly. Feel free to drop a comment if you had any questions, if I forgot to cover anything that you were looking forward for me to cover. But that's pretty much it for my 2022 desk setup. I'm looking to try these things and see how they fit in my workflow and continue to improve on them, continue to hopefully inspire you guys with your workflows as well. So I guess I'll see you on the next one. Peace.